Chapter 12, The 24 Meanings of Life. After much contemplation and edification, I have come to the conclusion that there are around 24 correct answers to the all-important and existential question, what is the meaning of life? There may be more, and there may be some overlapping redundancies, but for those who want to know the answer to this question, and haven't already found at least one of these answers by themselves, this chapter is a great place to start. But first, I want you to look deep inside yourself when you ask yourself this question. How do you feel at the prospect of asking this question? Are you sad, perhaps mad or irritated, or joyous and hopeful, maybe anxious and uncertain? These feelings are normal. It is okay to have these feelings. However, it will be much easier to determine the answers to this question with an emotionless affect. Simply analyze the question with unadulterated logic. Please, allow me to show you the many ways to come to terms with your own existence. As stated in Chapter 7 of this book, there are many scopes by which we can attain this knowledge within the hierarchy of sciences that ranges from religion and the arts to astronomy. So from the perspective of various religions and cults, the meaning of life is 1. Whatever the leader of the group says is the meaning of life.
1. Jesus is the life. God is the meaning of life. Being good is the meaning of life. And this is how you do it. Being enlightened is the meaning of life. I am the meaning of life. Follow me to give your life meaning. Yes.
From the perspective of the arts, the meaning of life is 2. The experience thereof.
Number 2, hey man, you just gotta experience it yourself. Live and let live, you know?
3. To be productive. People can find meaning in their life from work and from their art, or from any creative or productive means.
Number 3, don't lose your ability to produce and do something with your life. Don't just grow in mind, grow in action.
4. To seek beauty. Although beauty is a subjective qualia dimension and lies in the eye of the beholder, I feel that this is a necessary addition to adequately balance against the harsher aspects of reality.
Number 4, sexy people. Is this sexy? I can't tell. Yeah, yeah, sexy people. Nice houses, nice cars, vanity, materialism. Get them while they're hot. Life is beautiful, yeah?
5. To react to scary stimuli.
Number 5, life is also scary. When it is do or die time, you gotta decide when it is time to fight, flight, freeze, faint, fuck, figure, flail, or fail, or use forbearance while dealing with that which fearfully grabs your attention. It is completely up to you.
From a philosophical viewpoint, the meaning of life is 6. To increase in self-awareness. When living things are more aware of their own placement in the objective world, they are more likely to adequately respond to scary stimuli when it arises.
Number 6, the meaning of life is to not be a dumbass. Because the dumbasses of the population are more likely to do stupid shit that are the direct cause of their self-nullification, which would make them unable to pass their genes on to the next generation. So the more self-aware you are, the less likely you will do something to make your life non-life.
7. To learn and be curious while seeking truth. This is my personal favorite. I love to allow myself to be debunked by superior knowledge and logic when it appears, which helped me build this grand unified theory of nothing called dimensionalism into what it is today.
Number 7, get schooled. Get educated. Heck, I'm writing this in Comic Sans right now, so I might as well say it. Read this book. Of course, read other books as well. Listen to the experts of their own fields. Being in tune with reality of your existence is an important meaning of life.
From a mathematical viewpoint, the meaning of life in a single statement is 0 to the 0th power. 0 to the 0th power is in a superposition of states which are both true. 8, 0, and 9, 1.
Number 8, if you want to be a Debbie Downer and say that life is ultimately meaningless, oh boo-hoo, you are correct. The meaning of life is 0. Such and utter are the clear and obvious truth for Debbie Downers. And number 9, if you would be inclined to give your ultimately meaningless life meaning anyways, you would be correct in doing so, for the meaning of life is also 1. As in life exists, as opposed to not existing.
Your conscious existence will be a 0 for 99.999999999% of the universe's life, and it is such a small span of our existence to be in the 1 position. In other words, there will be plenty of time for you to not be alive, to not exist, and to not live. So don't spend too much time being gloomy that the one life you have will ultimately be meaningless. Everything will eventually return to nothing, but that doesn't mean that we should seek to have nothingness be the only meaning to our lives while we are still nulls of somethingness.
See the 1 within the 0. See the 2 within the 0. See the infinite within the 0.
From a physics viewpoint, the meaning of life is 10, entropy and dissipation. Ultimately, life is made up of creatures of entropy, who have evolved to use the excess solar energy that is trapped and maintained within a robust and habitable atmosphere.
Number 10. The meaning of life is to make messes and cause chaos wherever we go. Turn order into disorder, like children. Make the bits of somethingness scatter into oblivion. Please, 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 do this responsibly and in consideration of the life forms around you. Even when you put in the work to bring things back into order, the total entropy of the universe increases.
From a chemistry viewpoint, the meaning of life is 11, equilibrium. A far more common word for equilibrium is balance.
Do not have too much negativity or too much positivity, too much pain or too much pleasure. Learn moderation. Live a life of balance. And it will give your life meaning, yes?
12. Homeostasis. Technically, homeostasis and equilibrium are synonyms. I know that. But another new phenomenon of life emerges from a life that is in equilibrium, and that is that life becomes peaceful and filled with serenity.
Number 12. Be cool, y'all. Chill out. Peace be with you. Don't be too anxious. Don't be too depressed. Just deal with the shit life throws at you when it comes. Don't worry about it beforehand. Just plan ahead, and you can have peace, knowing that you have prepared for the shit when it hits the fan. Truly, life seeks to be in a state of homeostasis.
From a biological viewpoint, the meaning of life is the successful reproduction of cells and or traits. 13. To be successful.
Number 13. Leave your mark. That is what biology cries out. Take yourself as far into the future as you can. This is the biological meaning of life.
14. To reproduce. If you have been dealt a fairly rough life, just try to survive. But seek to thrive at every opportunity. Honestly, you shouldn't just want to reproduce offspring, ideas, or a legacy. You want those reproductions to be successful too, which is why I made success and reproduction as 2 separate biological meanings.
Number 14. Bow chicka bow wow. Making babies. That'll make more babies, and making ideas that'll infiltrate the public consciousness for millennia to come.
From a psychological viewpoint, the meaning of life, in a single phrase, is the subjectivity of and adaptation to pain and pleasure. 15. Is subjective.
Number 15. Everything is subjective, and this is very much includes the meaning of life. You give your own life meaning. Define it yourself, and don't let others define it for you. You can go your own way. You can take inspiration from others, as I hope you do here. But I sure as heck am not going to hold your hand with one hand, with a golden tablet in the other, saying, "This is the one true meaning of life, sonny. Let me tell you something." I'm putting on all the accents with this character, aren't I?
16. Is adaptable.
Number 16. Life finds a way. Life is resilient and does its best to adapt to the environment that it's in. You see the tail in its natural habitat in front of the camera. Is it really natural? Yes, yes, yes. He takes a sip of water because he's dang thirsty.
17. To experience pain.
Number 17. Existence is pain. How do you deal with pain? Is the pain so incurable that you split your consciousness into multiple personalities in an attempt to find pleasure in spite of the constant pain? Maybe you become a masochist. Maybe you want to kill yourself with the self-pitying intent of escaping the pain. Don't be weak like that. Killing yourself is the coward's way. And dimensionalists fear no thing.
Maybe take a moderate amount of drugs to deal with the pain. As the Buddhist First Noble Truth says, life has inevitable suffering. 18. To experience pleasure.
Number 18. Existence may be filled with pain, but life's pleasures are existence's antidote. Don't overdo the pleasures, though, or you may find yourself loathing otherwise pleasurable circumstances. When one eats too much candy or ice cream, one feels nauseous. When one takes too much of the pleasurable or otherwise pain-reducing drug, they may develop a drug tolerance, making the drug's effects useless.
From a sociological perspective, the meaning of life is 19. To love. This was the first answer that I ever deduced back when I was a teenager, so it still holds a special place for me on this list. Since then, I have learned that love is subjective, so whatever somebody thinks is a loving action to themselves may be different from what somebody else thinks is a loving action.
Number 19. Listen to others with empathy and compassion, and you will eventually find love and acceptance. Communicate with your neighbor and learn what they like. Learn what pleases them. Love is patient. Love is kind. Devote yourself to love, and your life will have a much more profound meaning. Hate can go fuck itself.
20. To find acceptance.
Hang out with the bros. Find friends who will accept you for who you are. Some entities are capable of being complete dickheads. You don't need to be one yourself by surrounding yourself with such nincompoops. Don't let such people suck the life force out of you. Let them go their own debased way without you. If you seek out love and acceptance from others, you will find it eventually. Almost everyone deserves acceptance in their life.
21. 42. And other similar cultural references.
Number 21. Memes are the lifeblood of a healthy culture, and 42 being the meaning of life is no exception. 42 is a reference to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The meaning of life is also a video made by the Monty Python comedy crew, and is also a pretty sweet song made by the rock band The Offspring. The meaning of life.
From an astronomical scope, the meaning of life is 22. Expansion, a tendency for growth. The amount of space the universe tends to occupy over time appears to increase.
Number 22. As individuals, we should likewise seek to grow as time goes on. When you are or were a child, you want to set yourself up to grow into a fully formed and functionable adult. Life tends to grow.
23. Will inevitably die.
Number 23. At some point, even the fully formed and functionable adult individual will die. They may have grown as a conscious entity until that final day, but like the mathematical zero, eventually the growth the individual experiences will have been for nothing. Death is a universal application of our physical life, which thereby makes death a key defining factor of life. Life is something that will one day cease to be. Cease to be!
Lastly, from a literal viewpoint, the literal definition of life found in my current online dictionary, the meaning of life, is 24. The condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death.
Number 24. Of course I had to include this smartass response. This definition is nice and all, and will do in a pinch, but I think my 23 other answers to this question are more thorough than anyone has dared to go before.
Now, looking at this list, I am fairly confident that whatever answer you give me, if it is not already on this list, can be derived from some combination of these 24 definitions. For example, if you were to say family gives my life meaning, you would combine to reproduce, to give and seek love, to seek acceptance, and to grow.
Or if you were to say drugs are the meaning of life, you would combine to dissipate, to experience pain, to experience pleasure, to react to what is scary, and it will experience death. Or if you were to say Shrek is love, Shrek is life, you would combine it is one, to seek and give love, it is experiencing life itself, and to seek beauty.
I'm sure a future dimensionalist think tank will come to subjectively perfect this list if it is not already perfect.